So yeah, this spring we had a really dry season right after planting, and so we ran into a little bit of trouble with some of our covers, Brent, and just trying to get a game plan for next year. And what do you think we learned this year from our covers and planting?
I think one thing is management became pretty important here this year, especially with like the cereal rye here. If we got some heavier plantings and we waited too long to take those out here, we really drew out probably way too much moisture here early in the season here, and we really struggled with some emergence issues on some of that. And also the sunlight component of that here, we blocked a lot of sunlight as these plants are trying to grow here, which is something that we've got to try and address moving forward. Yeah, this particular portion of the field here was sprayed off at 16 to 18 inches tall. It was cereal rye planted here at around 30 pounds. So you can see there's a difference in the maturity of the corn versus the one alongside of here, because it's sprayed 10 days later here, a few rows over here. So there's a significant difference in the maturity of the corn here at this point because of the earlier spraying. All corn was planted at the same time.
And as we see down here on the surface, this was that rye that, was 16 to 20 inches. Now that we've had adequate moisture later in the summer, we got really good breakdown, nutrient cycling going on. We had a little bit of surface manure that was utilized. So this ground's in good condition.
This was sprayed 10 days later than the stuff alongside of it here, but the corn was all planted on the same exact day. But you can definitely see a difference in the maturity of this corn versus the corn that was sprayed earlier this year. Pretty consistently, it was about 2 to 3 leaves behind the other stuff there all season. So.
And we're seeing that same evidence in the breakdown here on the surface too, it looks like. So this rye probably was a little bit taller, a little bit more mature. So
yeah, with a little bit higher carbon to nitrogen ratio, so that explains why we've got a lot of stuff laying on top here yet. Just a higher carbon source at this point, but just not breaking down quite as fast. And with the later moisture that we've had, this has kind of been delayed here because of the lack of moisture.
When it comes to the planting time, we really got to be looking at that calendar and what the next 10 days is looking like on the forecast. Would you agree with that? Kind of drives our termination strategy.
Yeah, definitely. Here, I think in this year the best fields were fields that were kind of paying attention to the future here, knowing that conditions were going to be dry.